Oh, okay.
Yeah, you recording that?
Uh-huh. All the time with you. Can't trust you.
Man, that show's hilarious.
Never know when I'm going to get good video with you. Go a mile
that's why I was
west, a
wondering-
mile east, a mile north.
Not that. Last night
Oh,
was
shit.
siding, man. You walk out with siding and you turn around and walk back in. I was like, do you want good video or not, man?
That wasn't going to be good video.
Oh, you don't know that.
He was just walking away.
You have no idea.
And you notice something else about him?
What?
When he walks toward a turn on a sidewalk,
He walks weird, don't he?
he walks it like he's driving a semi. Like he's turning a semi on the angle to turn.
I know. He walks weird, man.
That I don't get.
He walks weird.
I think that's the walk of somebody who's self-conscious about themselves.
More than likely. More than likely.
Poor Sidon. Did you see my latest that I put out a little bit ago?
I started it and I wasn't able to stop it. I was leaving the house. It's you sitting there talking.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. It's just a short.
Yeah, it's like 6 minutes. Like 6 minutes.
Oh no, I put out that one, and then there's another one that's a minute long that's just Valdez.
Oh, that's what.
Another one bites the dust song again. Tuned up to show she got fired. Canned by the voters.
All Sidon had to do was not do what he did for the next 6 months. He could have moved on.
Well, and then he goes in there and tries to make himself all rehabilitated and shit.
2 to 3 weeks. Seriously?
So who we got here? You the big boss man today?
Yeah.
Huh? He's not here? You taking his spot? Are you in charge? Yeah. No? Those two juniors over there can't handle it. You know they're going to call you in for backup. Them two over there, they're going to call you in for backup. You know it. Hey, they got a sheriff over there that's horrible. They had a candidate that no LEO experience whatsoever and got almost, I don't know, between him and the other candidate that ran, they could have beat him. Sheriff. No LEO experience, and he's got
Did he win?
came damn close. He's going to go ahead and do a write-in campaign for the November election.
Really?
Because the votes that he lost to the third candidate, there was only 57 that voted for the third candidate, and there's only like 500 people that voted in this election. But the incumbent got 271, and between the other two candidates, they ended up with 278. So the sheriff is vulnerable. He could be beat.
How long has he been sheriff?
How long has Walker been down there? 8 years?
I'm not for sure.
Something like that.
I'm not for sure. That reminds me, you gotta tell me what exactly is going on.
But no, the other candidate down there is going to do well if he sticks at it.
Where's he from? Is he
Local?
local?
Yeah.
LEO or
No.
no?
That's what I'm saying. He's not a law enforcement officer. He's going to get elected and then go get his license.
Hey.
See, I talked to them two over there, but they always look at me like I'm doing something wrong. Especially the one over there by the window.
Let me go first tonight.
Okay.
That lady, when I walk in, she was shaking her head, made contact with me, so I went over and she introduced herself. Her name is Erica Anderson, the one that is running for Douglas County Commission as a Democrat. That's her. And she says she's seen me speak and she respects me and what I say. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Gotcha.
Shook her hand, told her about my YouTube channel.
I'm really going to miss Shannon. Especially with Lisa Larson taking over that seat.
What are you talking about? Lisa lost.
Lisa lost?
Yeah.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Holy cow. Awesome. I went to bed last night thinking she had won. Damn, it is a great day, isn't it? Got rid of a shitty DA and...
Is it really a great day when it's either Shannon Reed or Lisa Larson?
Well, yeah, but this makes Lisa more vulnerable in the city election now.
Okay.
because she tried to dump the city and go to the county, and she's going to get shut down because of it. Congratulations, Shannon. I personally am glad you won. How you know about Elk County? You been watching?
I heard, yeah.
You heard? What have you heard?
So you guys were down in Elk County?
Oh, where'd you hear from?
A bad arrest down there or something?
A horrible arrest. There's several of them, actually.
Check it out. Yeah, I haven't looked at it.
Their deputy told us that we had charges filed on us. We went down there all day, and nobody will cover for him. Left him out in the open, so we filed C-post complaints on him. The redneckery in the small towns, man. As much as I despise some of you guys up here, the shit they got going on in those small towns is insane.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here, and welcome to our August 7th, 2024 Board of Douglas County Commissioners 5:30 business meeting. There are paper copies of the agenda available for those who are here in person, and then the full packet is available online on our website. For this evening, we did have a work session earlier. If you've missed that, you feel free to catch that online also. That was our overview of our Consolidated Fire District 1 budget and the capital improvement plan for Douglas County. Those did not have a vote at that time. That will come back to us in the future at probably August 28th. So this evening, we will have our consent agenda, followed by general public comment. We welcome general public comment for addressing issues not on today's agenda, but otherwise related to county business. Given our limited time and the need to have an orderly and efficient meeting, we will apply certain rules regarding public comment. A recent federal court decision has provided additional clarity regarding standards for public comment, and we have updated our practices accordingly. We do our best to enforce these rules consistently and without regard to the point of view expressed by the speaker. Each speaker will be limited to a total of 3 minutes of speaking time. However, we do always accept public comment of any length in writing, especially by email. Individual speakers may not donate unused time to other speakers. All comments must address topics within the jurisdiction of the County Commission. We will also maintain the decorum of our meeting. Therefore, we prohibit public comments that are threatening, aggressively hostile, or belligerent, fighting words, slander, or speech that invades the privacy of individuals, unreasonably loud, disruptive, or repetitive, or that interrupt or substantially interfere with the board's ability to conduct county business. We do reserve the right to mute or remove any speaker who violates these public comment rules. At that time, we'd ask for your full name and address for our meeting minutes and to address your comments up to us at the Commission. Please know that comments received by the Commission during our meetings do not necessarily represent the views of Douglas County government, but that we value the input. We don't usually respond to general public comment on the spot, but if you leave your contact information with county staff, we'll try and get specific questions answered. After general public comment, we move to our regular agenda. And for each item there, we will hear from staff or an applicant, followed by questions from the Commission, and then open that item up for public comment relative to that item. Once public comment is closed, we bring the item back to the Commission for further discussion and a vote. Lastly, a recording of this meeting will be available on the county's YouTube page and website. And as is always our practice, we ask first, Commissioners, are there any items you'd like to pull from the consent agenda, of which we have one?
No.
And is there any member of the public who'd like to pull our consent agenda item for further discussion? 1.1. Commissioners, that is the sum total of our consent agenda. So we will start with 1.1. Do Commissioners have any questions on the accounts payable? Okay, would you like to come up and give a public comment?
So I wanted to ask again, I asked last week if you guys had actually reviewed the accounts payable. And Ms. Reed, I asked last week if anybody had reviewed that, because in the week prior, there was evidence in the meeting that Mr. Kelly had not actually reviewed the item for the sheriff, talking about him just going to go ahead and do his own bid process and everything. And that hadn't even really been reviewed because there were a quote made there that something wasn't in the packet, or he thought something should be in the packet that actually was. So my question for you guys is, do you actually review the accounts payable before you sign off on them? Do you actually physically review the accounts payable? I mean, I don't want to stand up here for the whole 3 minutes. I'd like them to just acknowledge that they actually do or do not actually review those documents before they sign off on them.
Michael, if your public comment is over, we can continue to have conversation about the meeting or about this agenda item if nobody else has public comment.
Actually, my speech, my First Amendment actually includes me standing here in silence. So we're going to take up that full 3 minutes if you guys don't want to answer. I don't want to do that, but it's meaningless for you guys to not answer a simple question like that. Do you actually review the accounts payable before you sign off on them? Do you know if they do? See, nobody wants to answer. We've seen evidence that it doesn't get reviewed, that expenses here don't get reviewed. Nothing? You gonna send me an email afterwards, Patrick, letting me know that things do get reviewed? Shannon, am I gonna get an email afterwards? So you can speak to tell me that I can leave the podium before I shouldn't, but you can't tell me if I'm gonna get an email afterwards? You don't like me coming in here cussed and raising hell. I haven't cussed or raised hell, just asking a simple question. Do you actually review the accounts payable? But I could come in and cuss and raise hell and make a good video, though. Do you guys actually review the accounts payable? I've seen evidence that you don't. I'll let you have that 30 seconds.
Is there anyone else who'd like to give public comment on this item? Seeing none in the room, Sarah, do you have anyone online? Okay. Closing public comment, I would bring it back to the commission and consider a motion.
Motion to approve consent agenda item 1.1, approval of accounts payable.
Second, and now that public comment is over, I will answer your question directly and say, yes, we have reviewed accounts payable. And that is why I make a motion or support a motion to review it, to approve it. Otherwise, I wouldn't support a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that brings us to general public comment. Is there anyone in the room who would like to give general public comment today? Come on up.
My name is Dr. Justin Spees. My sign here says, women have more balls than Patrick too. I have a serious question for you guys I'd like you to answer. Back on May 1st, I came in here and I was holding this exact same sign that said, women have more balls than Patrick too. And Karen, you stopped me and you said, I'm afraid we're not going to allow the sign. And I said, what's wrong with the sign? And you turned my mic off for a sign. And you immediately directed staff to contact the sheriff to come have me removed. And I was arrested. I went over and I stood over there with the sign and was arrested for that. And so why am I allowed to have this sign right now here today? Is that an admission of your guilt that you're not stopping me? Is that an admission of your guilt for stopping me before? For standing over there with my sign? See, look, watch. See, come stand over here. So right here, my sign was on the camera there. See, nothing. You guys aren't directing anybody to arrest me or anything. Why is that? What's different? It's a serious question. I'd like an answer to it. How am I supposed to know each meeting coming in what I can and can't say? You know, that's the thing about free speech, is it doesn't need guide rails and guardrails from you assholes. And you know that. That's why I'm able to stand here right now. But on May 1st, I was arrested for it. A couple meetings before that, I said women have more balls than Patrick too. Both Shannon Reed and Karen Wiley directed staff, 2 separate meetings, directed Sarah Plinsky to turn my mic off for saying that. But as you can see here today, mic is still on. Why? Why, Patrick? Why, Patrick? So So you try your best not to engage in viewpoint discrimination while engaging in viewpoint discrimination with me, specifically. Because I'm not allowed to say women have more balls than Patrick too in April and May. But here we are in August, and freely say it. It's part of the lawsuit, that whole April meetings being silenced and the May 1st arrest, all part of the lawsuit, all got added to it. It's really interesting that the DA declined to press charges against me for disrupting a meeting that you guys had me arrested for. Remember, you said I was disrupting a meeting, but I just stood over there right now. I was close to staff. Didn't stop me.
Time. Is there anyone else who would like to give public comment?
I like that I can hold this up here because that makes it a little easier. Thanks. So that viewpoint discrimination that he was just talking about, that's why I back him up now, in here especially. And the reason that you let him do it now is because you know that you can't silence people. And for everybody's in the room, you guys need to understand the First Amendment is not for speech that's pleasant that everybody enjoys. The First Amendment was specifically written for speech that people don't like and that people want to shut down. That's why our founding fathers put that amendment in there, because they themselves had been shut down and silenced and told they couldn't protest against their government. But you guys would rather push those boundaries. And what's happened as a result of that arrest, Miss Willie, and it's funny, you were at the CPRB, I guess wouldn't even call it that, the police trust building exercise. It seems like you would associate more with LPD than you do the Sheriff's Department, because you've put them in a ringer by ordering them to be acting on your behalf to arrest Justin that time. And that's going to cost the county money. Some of that $168 million that's in the bank. I personally hope he gets a good chunk of it, because you guys need to learn this lesson. The First Amendment was written for speech that you find distasteful, speech that you find uncomfortable, speech that makes you want to push the button to mute us. You guys should have learned this in school. You should have learned it in your orientation to the commission when you learned about COMA rules. But apparently that's a problem here. I do appreciate the fact that this body has chosen to stop the escalation with us, unlike the city. You guys have finally learned just to, for the most part, sit there and be quiet and listen. Unfortunately, the city keeps trying to push their will. One of you that might want to talk to Bart Littlejohn about that and see if he wants to avoid a city lawsuit coming up. But that's about the only thing I appreciate about this body. You guys got our money in the bank. You've put us in the kitty for lawsuits that are going to cost that money. And it's all about your feelings. It's always been about your feelings. That's difficult.
Anyone else who'd like to give public comment? Seeing none, do we have anyone online, Sarah, that will close general public comment?